It's carbohydrate and it's glucose. Listen, your brain can function very well on ketone.
So this video is talking about how sugar is evil and you need to cut out all sugar and all carbs. And eesh. So, your brain is optimized to run on glucose. That is the preferred energy source. Your brain likes glucose. It works well on glucose. That's like, it can easily go across the blood-brain barrier and provide all the energy it needs because your brain can't store glucose. It can't store its own energy and stuff. So it has to get glucose from the bloodstream, which comes from your diet. Your brain is optimized to run on glucose. Now, this isn't saying that you just go down a bag of white sugar. I'm not saying that, because, like, again, excess sugar is not a good thing, same with everything. This video is stating that ketone bodies are the preferred energy source, but they're not, because if they were the preferred energy source, that's what the brain would use as its optimal energy source. Since the brain is primed to use glucose, it uses glucose. If the brain was primed to use primarily ketone bodies, then that would be the primary metabolite used. But it's not, because you only produce ketone bodies in times of starvation or when glucose is not available. So ketone bodies do come from the breakdown of fats. That is where it comes from, because if your brain, no, I just completely lost my train of thought. If your body cannot use glucose, it goes on to metabolize other things, starting with fats, which are a long-term energy storage, as opposed to glycogen, which is shorter-term energy storage. So if there is no glucose or glycogen available for metabolism, it moves on to lipids, which are stored as fats in adipose tissue. And the breakdown of those lipids results in like fatty acids, which can then go through metabolism, as well as ketone bodies. Since like fats and proteins themselves cannot get past the blood-brain barrier, there has to be another metabolite synthesized that can get past that, and those are the ketone bodies. Those being acetoacetate, acetone, and beta-hydroxybutyrate. And that works great as a short-term solution when your body's like, hey, my brain desperately needs energy, start breaking down the fats. That's a good thing because the brain can use the ketone bodies. However, it's not the optimal source. The brain much prefers glucose. But ketone bodies will do in a pinch. However, an excess of ketone bodies being produced can lead to ketoacidosis, which is a pretty serious condition if it gets to a certain level. So ketoacidosis is when there is a way too high concentration of ketone bodies because your brain isn't getting glucose, so they're just breaking down fat way too fast and producing way too many ketone bodies, which causes the acidosis, which means your blood pH is way too low. Your blood is becoming acidic, which is a problem. Your body physiology is very fine-tuned, so you need a very specific pH in your body in order to maintain all of your enzymes and proteins, or else they'll start to degrade. And we do not want to degrade our proteins. That's not a good time. So an excess of ketone bodies lowers your blood pH, which causes all sorts of problems. This is not to say, however, that there can't be uses of using primarily ketone bodies. For example, there has been studies where in patients with like diabetes and Alzheimer's have switched to a pretty much carb-free and ketone-reliant diet because when there's issues with like glucose metabolism, ketone bodies are better because you can't metabolize the glucose, so you can't use it anyway. So increasing the ketone body productions in those cases have proven to be beneficial. However, if you're happy, healthy, if you're healthy and don't have any of those underlying health conditions, glucose is definitely a better energy source for your brain. So the key is moderation. Not too much glucose, not too much like protein, not too much anything. But you do need glucose and you do need carbs because that's what your brain likes.